This is Chipper Chap Chat.
What up, Chipper Chaps? This is Chipper Chap Chat. I don't even know what episode it would be, but we can call it episode one
Episode
of
1,
2022.
2022. We're back. It's
Uh,
been a while.
it's been at least 2 years.
It's been a
Yeah, it's
while.
been. Wow.
I still do it, by
Uh,
the way. And a lot of
keep the
people
legacy
don't
alive.
understand me. Oh, I've been doing it. And I don't need, I think we're at the point, at least for me, I don't care anymore. As
Fuck
in,
yeah, for who?
yeah,
For who?
exactly. It's like, oh, I do it. And it's like, yeah, this is for me.
Yeah, that's for my enjoyment.
This is
It
for
gives
my
me
giggles,
fun.
dude. I didn't care about if you're uncomfortable or weird.
Right.
I know we're in public. It doesn't matter. I'm doing this because it makes me laugh inside. Makes me feel good. And we need that these days.
It should.
Yeah.
Even the little stuff is the important stuff.
I think it is. And I think
But,
lately we understand that it definitely is.
oh man. Oh man. We'll get into that. I guess
Mhm.
it's gonna be a two-part thing. We'll get into that more in the everything that has happened
Mhm.
since we've been away episode. But this one, um, I guess we were inspired to come back and talk about the new Batman. Because it was so different
Yeah.
that it felt inspired for us to come on and talk
Yeah, yeah.
about.
Absolutely. Plus there's a bunch of other
Um,
things that we've just
so many things, and
yeah.
we've chatted privately about it a little bit,
Mhm.
but we've not recorded anything
No,
in a grip.
not.
And I felt, part of that was the world got crazy, and it was harder for me to be chipper about anything. Uh, so I think things are starting to mellow out. Some good things are happening in the middle of all the bad things,
Mhm.
and so it makes it a little easier to come up here and celebrate some cool nerdy shit.
Yeah.
Um, so
Mm.
the last episode from 2 years ago was us talking about Robert Pattinson being cast as the Batman.
Was it 2 years ago?
It was at least, or it was pretty close to 2 years because it was pre-pandemic. I'm pretty sure.
They started filming, right?
Yeah,
Um,
or I don't even think they had started filming when we talked about it last.
was this film delayed?
Yes,
How long does it roughly take for a film to be made?
usually about a year and a
About a year
half
and a
of
half, right? So
post-production. Yeah,
this was what was the original release date for this? Was it sometime last year, right?
October last year, I
Okay.
believe. Or no, I think it was June last year. Then it got pushed to October,
And then
and
got
then it
pushed
got
back.
pushed again until the following March.
Now, if they didn't like do reshoots or anything from the
They
second
did.
pushback, did they? From the second one?
They did. Hmm.
Oh right, yeah, because of that thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just talking about that thing, and I guess this is a spoiler review, just so everybody knows. We're
I
gonna
mean,
talk.
when did the film come out? A couple.
It's been long enough. It's been long enough for us to do it.
It
So,
has.
uh, so going with that in mind,
Mm-hmm.
um, firstly, what did you anticipate we were getting from the early stuff that they had talked about with Pattinson's Batman? Because I don't want to talk about the Joker part of it yet,
Right, right, right.
but that I think part of that reshoot stuff was to deal with the
Probably.
Jokers.
Probably. What do you mean? Like, what was I expecting going into this film?
When they said Pattinson as Batman, did that automatically make you curious or automatically detour you?
Um, honestly, in general, I am. I've been sort of burnt out with Batman.
I
S-
remember you saying
I
that. Like
still
you were
somewhat
kind
am.
of done with the character,
I'm
kind
kind
of
of
done.
like just for now. It's just that sure we had I mean it's probably a while now, a couple of years anyway since Christian Bale's
Mhm.
Batman. But then we
Yeah,
had the Batfleck, Ben
the
Affleck one, right?
Snyder.
The Snyderverse version, and then now we got this one, and it's like I get it that Batman is Warner Brothers and DC's golden boy in that sense. Like they'll always go
Mhm.
to him because he sells the most. It's that simple. He is
Right.
there.
They trust him to
He's a
sell merch.
golden ticket, absolutely. Like regardless of what they put out, he's gonna be successful.
Right.
Bat Patterson's take on it, like prior to seeing anything, even any images, just knowing him as
Mm-hmm.
an actor for the character, he's a good actor. I've seen a couple of films where it's, not the Twilight ones, but the ones
Right.
where he actually acts, and I'm like, he's a good actor. Can he be Batman? Sure, but what kind of Batman is he going to be? What kind of Bruce Wayne is he going to be? I'm not even sure at all what to expect. Uh, so anything is possible here. I was hoping for a detective film
Right.
because
And I think we talked about that
yeah,
in that
we
episode
did
of
we did because
anticipating
we
that.
want to see him do some detective work.
Right.
He's the world's
Do you
greatest detective.
feel satisfied with that part of it?
We're talking spoilers, of course.
Yeah.
Yes. Because like he's not the greatest detective yet,
Right.
which is good because they definitely showed that it's his second year as Batman.
Mm-hmm.
He's still kind of like he's not the best. He's kind of not the smartest man in the room yet. You know what I mean?
No. And was that a problem for you, or
No,
you
no,
like?
no, 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 no. That was good. That was good that he's still not. He shouldn't be peak yet.
Right.
He should still be in his growing stages.
See, because for me that was a problem. Maybe I wasn't thinking about it in those terms or
Okay.
something, but to me it was weird that he plays very little factor in solving any of the
It was
problem.
absolutely. He barely solved anything here.
Like they showed that he was
Yes.
observant
Right,
at the
right.
crime scene,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
was like, I know that the thumb was cut off while the dude was alive. I noticed this thing on the floor before the photographer
Mm-hmm,
did."
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But like he doesn't really solve any of
No.
the stuff that matters to the plot. Like he doesn't figure out the fucking carpet tool
He
thing
really
until
didn't.
later.
He's
Like
like,
a regular
yeah,
cop
yeah.
would have figured that shit
That's
out.
what I'm saying. Like, he's still pretty. He's green.
Or very like, but in a way
He's,
where I'm like, that's weird,
yeah.
right? Like he didn't. I remember when I was watching this movie, I went with a group of friends, and every riddle that popped up, I leaned over. I leaned over to my friend and my girlfriend and said what the answer was immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like, I shouldn't be coming to these conclusions before Batman.
That's kind of the problem with it. And the film, it's weird because, did you like it?
I
I
did.
don't think we actually said whether or not we like this film or not.
Right. I liked watching it
Right.
because they made some improvements on things that I had been waiting to see in a Batman movie,
Yeah, yeah.
but I didn't love it. I was the only one of my friends that came out not loving it. And I think that I had I liked enough things to go with it and see another one if they do another one, but I disliked enough things to where I feel like I'm still waiting for the Batman that I like to show up in a movie.
This is where we're in agreement.
Right.
You know, I speak to a bunch of folks, and most of them come out saying, "Finally, a Batman! I love this. I love this." And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, he's still not Batman. I mean, one,
Right.
he's a shit Bruce Wayne.
Mhm.
He's Bruce. Like, it's not his fault. The Bruce character in this film,
Right.
he's not Bruce. Like, he's not. Like, I'm glad that they kind of made note of that in the film as well. At least in the end, at least from what I was gathering, where I'm like, he's realizing, oh, I kind of have to do more than just be the Batman to do shit for the to Gotham. Like, and like the new mayor even brought it up, where it's like, aren't your parents like, weren't your parents doing shit for the
Right.
Gotham? You ain't doing shit. Like,
Right. You're not doing any of
yeah,
the philanthropy
yeah,
part.
nothing. You're doing nothing, literally. Like, you hide
Right.
out in your tower doing nothing.
It was kind of like they sort of did like the anti Tony Stark in a
to
way
to the point
of
where it's too far.
right,
Yeah,
because his whole line is, "I'm a billionaire playboy
yeah,
philanthropist," and I
yeah,
think with this Bruce Wayne, they went, "No, this guy's Batman."
yeah,
That's
yeah,
his
yeah.
entire thing. He's not anything else but Batman. And yeah, he has money, but all that shit is just to fund the Batman. He's not doing
It's
anything else.
that part is weird to me in a way.
It is weird.
Like I understand. I know. I was speaking to mates, and they're like, Batman is kind of his actual is who he is, and Bruce
Mhm.
is the secret identity. Like Bruce is who he's pretending to be, kind of. Like
Right. Or it should be.
it should be, but he's not doing anything yet.
Yeah, he's
As a
not pretending to be anything.
no,
He's just Batman not wearing the suit,
I'll be
you
honest.
know?
My favorite scenes in this film was that intro.
Bro, 1,000. I think that intro is well, not the intro because that's the Riddler thing, but
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
when they're establishing
He's
how
at
Batman
the
works in this
yeah.
universe is the
I
best they've ever done of Batman thing.
But it's also the best to me personally. The best in this, the best aspect of this entire film.
Yeah, because it's the thing they sell that actually is a Batman thing. He's scaring the shit out of
Yes.
the criminals that live
Now,
here, where any
yes.
shadow, they're like, fuck, Batman might
Yeah,
be there.
exactly.
That's
It's
the
all
thing
in
they
their
got
head.
right.
He got into their
Yeah,
head. Now, unfortunately for the film, for me,
right.
the rest of the film didn't live up to that part.
Bro, 1,000 fucking %. It was that scene
I
and the
felt
Batmobile scene. Those two, I think, got it right. And
Batmobile
then
scene's cool.
everything else, I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah,
Like because that thing established how I've always thought how they should react to Batman. Everybody should be terrified when they're doing that
everybody,
crazy shit that Batman's
everybody.
gonna show up.
You don't know where he is. He could be
Right.
anywhere. That's the beauty of it.
Loved that. The issue I had with how that lore works is that when he does show up, he is so armored up,
I
and then
was.
everyone just shoots him, and he slowly walks at them, shooting them, and I'm like, if he's this armored up, they would just shoot him in the mouth.
That's what I said. Here's my
Yeah,
problem. Here's my problem with that intro scene. As soon as Batman actually showed up,
yeah,
that scene went to shit for me.
it did. Yeah,
Because I'm like, one, you're no longer stealth. You're bloody stomping the ground with your
exactly.
metal
He's
boots.
right.
You've got this there. That was
Hmm.
the first thing I thought. I was like, everyone's shooting him. Shoot him in the bloody mouth.
He doesn't. He
He's
doesn't
got a
hide it,
not at all. It's
right?
right there.
Because all that ninja shit is gone. He's
Oh,
just, I'm gonna walk up to you and punch you in the mouth. That's what I'm doing,
that's the
and
part that
that's
I hated
fine.
as
That's
well.
cool.
But I hated that
Right.
as well because I was like, that part where the fear of that logo is it's
Hmm.
like it's great because the people who are in need of Batman sees that
Yeah.
as a positivity. But the
Yeah.
people who are bad sees that, oh, I'm in shit now.
Right. That's how that hero should work. I feel like
That was the
that should
best
have been
part of
how
that
they
whole film for me.
now now had that been the conclusion of the movie, I
Oh,
think I would have been more on board. If
yes.
whatever Batman did,
Yeah.
it ended with now criminals are fucking terrified
Yes.
because Batman could be anywhere. That's
It
the
it
ending I
should have
want
been
to see.
flipped. That thing was
Exact,
it
you
should have
know?
been, yeah. It should have resulted in the end where it's like this is why like the film should have shown why that moment makes
Mhm.
more sense.
Right.
Cuz he as the Batman did not like vengeance. They never called it Batman. It was
Mhm.
vengeance the whole time.
Right.
Kind of never lived up to that for me anyways, that intro.
Right. Which the vengeance thing,
That was
I
weird to
kind
me.
of I kind of hated it
I did too.
because he never says that publicly. Why is everyone calling him fucking Vin? It's not like he was on the news and he said it.
Yeah.
He said that to one group of kids after he punched one in the mouth for 30 minutes, and then and then everyone just starts calling him that.
Yeah.
It's real
Yeah.
bizarre. No one just latches on. "Hey, this guy's dressed like a fucking bat. We're just gonna go with vengeance." I don't know. It felt like Cowboy Bebop or something. Like, isn't one of them's name fucking Violence or
So,
something like that?
okay. As another aspect that I did like about this film was is Batman's relationship with bloody the chief
Gordon?
Gordon.
Yeah.
I like that.
I liked it because I liked that they worked as a team.
Yes, that's what I liked about it.
I didn't, however, like that Gordon is also stupid. They don't solve anything together. They just have cool conversations where they both do the Batman voice
That's
back and forth.
that's what I liked.
Yeah,
I know
it
it's
was fun
dumb.
to watch
Yeah, that's what I mean.
because it
It
felt
was
like
yeah.
noir,
Yes.
you know?
But he wasn't a detective.
No, that was weird to me that neither of them really like the one that bothered me was the El Rata Alata riddle. Where they all are getting it wrong immediately when they were like rat with wings. Immediately.
Yeah.
I leaned over and I was like, a bat?
That's that
Um,
dude. That's why when they were saying all these things I was like, are we watching the
yeah,
same
they
thing?
went like 20 minutes of investigating other shit
Yeah, I was like,
before
oh, it's
Penguin.
definitely Penguin, and I'm like,
Yeah, before all that
yeah.
Batmobile sequence to get to where they capture the
Which, by the
Penguin,
way,
and he
they
says
they killed so many people on that road.
so many people blow up a whole bunch of
I
shit.
told my mate after I told my mates afterwards, like, wait, okay, Batman doesn't kill. We get it, like,
All right,
but deaths occur indirectly because of his actions. We
all the
know
time.
that all the time.
Yeah,
But he doesn't kill. Like, he's not gonna hold a gun and shoot a
right.
criminal. But hey, if you happen to be
Yeah, if you're on
there,
this
if
highway
you're in
and
this
I'm
high
trying to
while
kill
I'm chasing
you like
Penguin,
that.
there's a chance you and your family's dead.
Yeah.
But
I do think it would have been interesting if they had done that same sequence, but they made it so Batman was doing all the sick shit with making sure that no one got injured.
now you could say it's okay because it's his second year.
Right.
But here's my thing. I'm gonna go back to Snyder's Superman here,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Hmm.
It's okay for Batman. People let that slide for Batman.
Right.
But Superman on his first day wearing the suit,
Right.
not
Hmm.
allowed. Not allowed. He has to be Superman.
Right. Well,
Do
it's true. That was a weird.
you
It
hold him
was,
to a higher level. He literally just discovered how to fly, and that he has
right.
to stop these beings which he never knew really existed.
It's true. Although that Dragon Ball fight, my issue with that at the time was there should have been something in the edit to show that Superman is at least trying to
Yes,
get Zod out of the
absolutely,
city.
absolutely.
That
Like
was the only thing missing. They could
absolutely.
keep the fight exactly
Yeah,
how
yeah.
it was, but they should show just in an instant he's trying to get him out of the city,
And Zod's the one that's
and
keeping him
Zod keeps
inside.
going back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's that's why I was like, there's little things that could be added
Hmm.
just so
Yeah.
that you can go,
Little tweaks
okay,
that would
yeah.
save it.
And that's why it's nice that at least like in Avengers and whatnot, they'll say we have to get everybody out.
Right. They made efforts to
They
show,
make a point. It's
especially
like
Age of Ultron. They felt like this is specifically a call to Man of
yes,
Steel. We're
right,
making sure everyone
yeah,
gets
yeah.
fucking
We
saved.
have to try and say, like, don't get me wrong. There's gonna be casualties, unfortunately. Like
Right.
it's difficult, but we
Hmm.
have to try
Right.
at least. And then in
Hmm.
BVS, they were like, "Oh, it's a good thing this area is clear."
Right.
And I'm like, "All right,
Yeah,
thanks,
the Avengers
Batman."
here
Yeah,
out so Doomsday can
mm-hmm.
ninja kick a
Yeah,
building in half.
pretty much. Warner Brothers, but yeah, it's like the chase scene, cool. That Batmobile, it's just a hot rod. That's dope. Deaths, multiple, multiple deaths.
Let me ask you this. If would it have worked as well? Because this was something that I said when we were leaving the theater, and nobody was on board. I don't think anybody agreed with me, but I thought this movie might have worked better if they had just kept it as uh Affleck's Batman. Like some of the go back in time because remember they added all the gray shit on Affleck to make him the older retired Bruce. Just get rid of that. Get him in great shape. Do a movie where he's supposed to be a bit younger in his career, but he's established already, the same as they did with this Batman. Do that scene where all the criminals are fucking terrified and all that stuff. But
Mind you, it would have worked way
but
better with Ben
but
Affleck's one.
Affleck Batman
Oh
shows
yeah,
up. I get why everyone is scared.
hell yeah. By the way,
And
after watch, like, yeah, keep going, keep going.
uh, I felt like the that version of Batman, he's not going to just walk up and let you shoot him 1,000 times.
No,
He's taking out everybody
yeah,
with guns first. He's using all his gadgets, and yeah, he's uber violent. But you can show him learn that lesson because remember the BVS version of Affleck is supposed to be he lost everyone
mm-hmm.
already. This is why he is okay with murdering.
Or at least like beating like just
Right.
I'm gonna
Branding,
leave your
he's
life here.
already uber
Yes,
violent,
yeah, yeah.
basically. Show us earlier in his career where before he was like that.
In his
Then you
prime,
can establish
yeah.
characters like Robin, who existed previously. You can establish the Bat family, which they've still yet to do. Everyone's so afraid of Robin.
I don't know
And
why.
like to me, the only time we've gotten like a great version of what that Robin character could be like, and granted it's extreme, is Hit Girl.
Yep.
Because show us a highly trained young person who
Hit Girl
does
is
this. Even
Damian Wayne.
exactly, exactly. And even if you did, Tim Drake Robin or something,
Sure.
get someone who's like Tom Holland where they look 16
Yep.
perpetually and, get him to play a teenager and actually someone who actually looks like a teenager and comes in so he's not Chris O'Donnell where he's 25 and comes to live as Bruce's son for no fucking reason.
I'm like, wait a second, you're a
Make
man living with a man. Okay, I
exactly.
mean it's
Make
fine.
him a teenager
Yeah.
and show him with someone who looks like Affleck cuz you show a teenager with someone who looks like Pattinson and to me I can't see him be that father figure to this young kid who
Looks
went
like
through
his
the
older
same shit.
brother.
They kept showing him like look at that kid whose dad died, the senator or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, my girlfriend was like, "Do you think that's supposed to be like a Robin thing?" And I was like, I don't think they'll just randomly throw a random person in here and be like, "That's Robin," because that's more like a what Nolan did.
Yeah, yeah. Which
I
I
think in
hate.
this
Which is
universe,
still so dumb.
it is dumb, but in this universe, I'm like, I feel like if they show Robin, they're gonna show someone with Robin's actual name and some version of his backstory. They're just gonna try and make it gritty and dark,
Sure.
which is fine. And I think Pattinson has even said if they did Robin, they would want him. They would want to cast even younger than I was thinking. They want to go like 13 and do more like a hit girl thing, which is
Do
fine,
again, Damian Wayne.
right? And maybe you could justify that in this world because Pattinson's character's supposed to be so weird. But I feel like because he's so clearly Batman when he's not Batman, you could never get away with.
That's
And
why
then he
that's
shows up to the
also
kid, and
so
we
weird.
don't connect that dots.
It's also
you
so
know?
weird. I'm like, when you're Bruce, you're
Yeah.
Batman still.
Yep.
There
The
was
scene where he
literally
shows up
no
to the
line.
when he shows up to the
The
iceberg
club,
lounge
yeah.
as Batman, he's like, "Do you know who I am?" And they're like, "Yeah," but they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Then he shows up as Bruce, says the same
Yep.
line in the same voice, and he's, "Do you know who I am?" And they're like, "Bruce Wayne." They're
It
into it.
becomes so
But
obvious, and I'm like,
but that
whatever.
could have worked
Yeah.
had he had a different take on Batman than Bruce Wayne. If he
Yes.
showed up and he was like, "Hey, you know who I am?" Like, play it like I know I'm a celebrity in this
Exactly.
town, no big deal. That would have been fine, but to have him say the same line, but because he said it the same way, I'm like, no one is like, who could afford to be
There's a lot
Batman?
of dumb people. That's the thing. Like, it's movie ignorance.
It is, but it's weird
Yeah.
in this movie where people say stuff like Catwoman literally says to him at the end, "I don't know who you are under there, but you must be rich." Like if you're making those kinds of connections,
Yeah. Count the
you know who
dots.
Batman is.
Yes.
You have
Exactly.
no reason to not know who Batman is.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just some of that stuff was strange when you try to like hyper reel it
That's
and then you
and
make weird
that's
choices.
that's the problem with hyperreal
Right.
for me. Is that
Mm-hmm.
it's harder to believe the fantastical.
Right.
And to me, if it's a hyperreal, then that is plainly obvious.
Right. Establish those rules
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stick to
yeah. That's why I'm like, there's aspects of this where I'm just like that's one of them. I'm like, I don't get it. How you can just and Riddler knows.
Do you think that's the actual how they're going with it? Riddler actually knows what's going on because they
Riddler
seem like
seems
they
way smarter than Bruce.
he seems that way, but then at the end they and maybe that's on purpose, but they play it like
He doesn't know.
he doesn't know. He
Right.
thought they were genuinely a team, and he has no. He's duped by this, and that's confusing to me.
Yes.
But I also feel like they were wishy washy on it enough where I'm not
That's
sure. I can't
right.
definitively say he doesn't or
That's why
does
I was
know.
confusing it. I was like, wait, I thought he does know.
Right? They implied it with
Yeah,
like the
plenty of
ending
times.
Batman. He's like, I
Yeah.
guess this thing is over. This Batman thing is done.
Yeah, he's
And he
like,
shows up and he's like Bruce
yeah.
Wayne for for way too long. And
Mm-hmm.
then but they have the moment where Batman looks up at the camera. That means they're recording this.
Yep.
Now, even if Riddler comes to the conclusion
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't know,
Right.
whoever has the footage of this
Oh
conversation,
yeah.
as soon as he's like Bruce Wayne, even when he ends it
Mm-hmm.
with "We didn't get him," whoever's seeing that footage is making the connection
Yeah. It's like,
immediately. Oh, he
maybe,
must be that Batman is Bruce
or
Wayne.
it's like, is that what he meant? Because maybe we should look into that.
Yeah, exactly. Even if they don't know,
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
gonna look into it. That's
absolutely.
enough
But
for
that's the
me
thing.
to
It's like
probably
these things that they see, nobody looks into,
no.
and that's the part that I'm like, this is kind of weird because it's right there.
It is, and
It's kind
because
of
they've
right
established
there.
this version of the
Yeah,
world where he doesn't do anything to
yeah,
throw them off the scent
yeah.
is just I don't know. And so it also one of the things everybody was glowing about when we came out that I was kind of iffy about, and I see both sides,
Okay.
is the Batman theme.
Oh, to me, that's the Imperial March.
It is the Imperial. I was telling Cece, to me it is the Imperial March through the lens of Jaws.
Yeah. Dun, dun. I was like, well, as soon as I first said it, I was like, is this allowed?
Right. It's very
Because
close
I
to
know
Darth
it's
Vader.
just it's a small section that it just repeats over and over.
That's
It's
but that's why it reminds me
yeah,
of
yeah.
Jaws.
That's why it's
Because
Jaws.
Batman
Yep,
is the Jaws of this
yep,
universe. You hear that dun dun
yep.
dun dun. That
And it's
means
like, oh,
Jaws is
that
around.
means Batman's
But in this,
here.
yeah, exactly. You hear that
That means
dun
Batman.
dun dun dun. Oh
Duh.
shit!
Yep.
Start looking in the air. Batman's around.
Wait,
Um,
his
yeah.
sign is up.
So I didn't love it, but I understood how it worked in this universe.
It's
I
functional. It's
understood
not the
the
best Bat theme. I remember someone saying, "Oh, it's a
exactly.
great Batman theme." I was like, "You're crazy."
Yeah, it's fine for
It's
Batman and his
functional.
Jaws.
Yes, it's functional
Exactly.
for what this is.
But you can't eat this
No.
theme can't even touch animated series theme.
Dude,
It can't even
animated
touch
series theme is kind of
the
the
Tim
best for
Burton.
me because it's taken what Burton did, the
Yep.
Burton and Elfman, and it
Right.
kind of made it like
Cleaned it up.
expanded on
Yep.
that. You know,
Yep.
I was like, this
Yeah,
is
I loved it. To that version of it. So to me, this isn't the best Batman theme, but I understood why it was catchy. Like we were humming it and shit the next day. I get
I
it.
just continued the hum and I was like, I was doing the fucking Imperial March. I was like, this is
Right.
yeah, because that sounds
Yeah,
cooler.
it does. It sounds like it reminded me of like in between the Imperial March and like the Death March, the dun 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 dun
Yeah,
dun
yeah.
dun dun. Dun.
Maybe
Yeah,
that's kind of what it's supposed to
it
resemble.
felt like right in between
All
those.
right, thoughts. The suit.
I didn't
Is this
like.
your favorite Batman suit? Because I've had this discussion with people, and some say it is, and I was like, if you think this is a better, closer to the comic version of Batman's suit than Ben Affleck's suit, then you are
Right.
insane. Because the Ben
Yeah, I
Affleck
don't
suit,
agree at all.
like, remove the film that he was part of, the films that he was part of,
Exactly. That was
but
my point with that too.
look at the suit and how he was presented. That's
Hmm.
Batman.
Yep. Yep.
You can't do a better Batman than that. And people were like, "Oh, his fighting is too crazy in the Ben Affleck ones, right?" And I was like,
Mm,
"That's literally the video game Batman, which people consider to be one of the best Batmans.
right.
How are you saying that's not a good Batman?"
To yeah, to me that's still the bar to hit
They
is
haven't
Affleck.
this my main my issue with the mask. People go, "Oh, it's a great cowl and everything." I'm like, I don't like the square nose.
I don't like the square nose either. That was the one thing that it reminded me of like a mix of Daredevil's suit because he kind of had that box thing as well. But that's because Charlie Cox has like a itty bitty nose.
Right.
But I did like the way the cheekbones were
Yes,
shaped.
I
Um,
like this the skull shape around the eyes. The
right.
eye socket skull shape.
Yeah,
That's
that
cool.
was cool.
I just don't like the square nose. I'm
Yeah,
like
and
it
it, but
needs that point.
it reminded me of Adam West's
I
Batman
think that's what
nose.
they were trying to maybe
Right.
hint at. I
First,
don't know.
because Adam West Batman nose always had that little line like drawn on it
It was
for
like
some
so.
reason.
It's like looks like it was sewn on.
Right, and
Yeah,
that's kind of how
I think that's kind of what they're
Patton's
going for.
one
But
was.
the
But I didn't
collar. What do
like
you think of the
the armor.
collar?
That sort of reminded me of what was it called? Gotham Knight?
Gotham by Gaslight.
No, it was
Oh,
that anthology animated
Gotham
thing.
Knight. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was like Animatrix or whatever.
That was good.
But they had one episode where Batman had like sort of a like Green Ranger type shoulder thing, and that had like a high collar on
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
always
yeah.
thought that looked really, really cool.
Yeah.
And really kind of Pattinson's Bat or Bruce kind of looks like that Bruce too. I think
Except
he
that
had like
Bruce,
long
yeah. Except that Bruce wasn't like all emo and stuff. Still, he would just look
right,
that
but
way.
he was just like
Yeah,
thinner.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I kind of reminded me of that. I didn't mind the collar. I just didn't like
What about his
the heavy.
squirrel? What about his squirrel suit?
I hated it. I mean, I get it why it was like, ooh, but he's real now,
Yeah, and I'm
guys, and
like, no, he's not.
yeah,
As
I
real
didn't
as
like.
this is, when he crashed on the ground,
He should have been dead.
shattered,
Bro, he
shattered.
slingshotted
Yeah,
from the bottom of the fucking highway or whatever. He should have been dead.
I was like, shattered bones.
Yeah, then landed on a car and
Yes.
into the street
Yeah.
and got up and just kind of hobbled
Yeah.
away. And they're
There's
like, "But he's year
the
two."
whole.
And I'm like, "He should be dead year two. Then he's done."
That's the thing. A lot of when people go, "Oh, this the hyper realism thing," I get it. There were certain
Right.
fights here where I'm like, "Oh, he just got hit several times in the back
Mm-hmm.
with like bars. That's gonna hurt. I don't
Right.
care how strong you are. Like, I could see Ben Affleck's Batman take it and just get
Mm-hmm.
angrier and just knock
Right.
him
They
out.
showed him like get stabbed
Yes,
and then like use the knife on the guy. Like
yes,
his Batman was savage.
yes. This one, I do like that. By the end, he was so messed up that he definitely needed the injection. To
What'd you think of that? Because Adam, my roommate, immediately thought that's a Bane thing.
yeah, it is a main thing. The Venom.
Right. Now, because it's bright green, you automatically assume
Mm-hmm.
it's that. But because they never say anything about it, it's like a strange inclusion. I feel like
This film
because
has a lot of
Cece,
that
she
though,
don't know. She doesn't know enough about Batman stuff. She was just like, "Oh, he pumped himself with adrenaline."
which is
And I was
technically
like,
what it is, really.
"Right." And I was like, to someone who's not a Batman
Yeah.
fan, that's all that has to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a Bane thing, if it's Venom, that either implies he already fought him
Mm-hmm.
or he is going to and has this drug that he's gonna use already.
Or that somehow Bane gets access to that drug and houses it more and uses it on
R-
himself, something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's some kind of either
Mm-hmm.
setup for something in the future or you're implying something already happened. Like with the Joker thing, which I guess we can get to now. They do this whole thing where Riddler gets arrested on purpose because that's
Mm-hmm.
what they do. He gives himself up and then ends up having a scene with a proto version of the Joker, which felt like when they had Japanese Shredder come
That's
in
the
the
that's
Ninja
the
Turtle
first thing
movie.
that I thought of. I saw that, I was like, first, like, all right, he's in the shadow. I'm like, oh, they don't
Right.
have a design ready yet.
Do you think that's what it was? Is this
I
they
think
didn't
it
have
was
a
part of it because the thing is, at least being in the shadows, they can still change it.
right? They didn't want to commit to a
Yes,
design.
that's what I mean. That they're not gonna fully commit to it yet,
Right.
which, oh yeah, it's fine. But
I
yeah, the
was
whole the
telling
whole
I was
TMNT thing, I
telling my
was like, look
roommate
at this guy.
I was telling my roommate my theory on this for a couple of reasons is they decided last minute and did some reshoots to do that Joker stuff because this was supposed to be connected to Joaquin Phoenix's Joker.
See, I hate that.
I think, especially because like if you even look at the title sequence,
Mm-hmm.
the title sequence for the Joker,
Mm-hmm.
just the name Joker,
Mm-hmm.
whole screen, big block letters. The Batman, same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
The look of his Gotham is the same Gotham, just fast forwarded 30 years
Mm-hmm.
in the future. It's all fucked up trash everywhere. It's very like 70s film looking. I think that Riddler at most was going to meet Joaquin Phoenix's Joker still in prison or whatever as like an older dude. And like this was already an established thing. Like even the
Right.
gang members wearing clown makeup still feels like some leftover
Yeah.
shit. The all the drops thing they didn't even get into, but I bet you that was something related. I just feel like the plan was the Joker film establishes this new version of
Right.
Batman. It's kind of like Keaton's Batman.
Right.
The Joker created that Batman.
Right.
Except for they did it there with a much younger Joker who becomes Joker late as like a
Right.
40, 50-year-old man instead of in his 20s. And
Now he's just
in this
really
one it
old
would
as
have been
shit.
Yeah, he was some guy who was crazy
Yeah.
earlier on in the 70s or whatever and killed Bruce's parents
So
and
how
set
old
up
would
that.
this Joker be if it was supposed to be what, or is it like a legacy title?
It'd be 20 years later.
Would it be
So,
like passed down? Because I'm
I think
old.
I think that's how it would have been is they would have either had to do a legacy Joker
Yeah,
and that's probably why they didn't
yeah.
is because they wanted a version of this Batman has to be able to punch Joker someday.
Because
And
I
if
was
he
gonna
can't punch
say,
old man
yeah,
Joker, it's got to be a legacy
yeah,
character.
it
So they were
has to
like,
be.
fuck it, we'll reshoot something, show that a young Joker exists,
I don't know, man.
and then we can go from there. Cuz like think of they're doing Joker 2 now supposedly with Joaquin Phoenix coming back.
I don't like that.
But that's why I feel like the shit is happening. They decided we're going to keep going with the Joker, so we don't want to connect them.
But see, that's kind of my problem with a lot of these things, where with Warner Brothers' decisions in doing their films, where everything kind of just sits within its own thing, and that's fine. But it's almost like, why should I care then?
If it worked on us like you knew which shit it was connected and which shit wasn't, then I
Right.
think it would be fine. But they're
Sure.
real
But
wishy-washy.
that's
Like
my problem with it, where it's like, all right, Joaquin's Joker film. Do you see a
mhm,
Batman in that world?
not this Batman.
Right, but what Batman can work in that world then? Pretty shit
It would
one.
have because they already
Because
established
Joker's not
this
even that
he's
wild there. You know what I mean?
not yet.
Right.
And this Bruce is like literally like 8 or 9,
Yeah.
and I don't. It just feels like that movie had to be a setup for what this
Sure, but
Batman is,
that's what I'm like. It's
and
almost like
you
they
know
have ideas but no real plans.
they don't follow through with them.
I hate that.
They don't even all the ones that they just when we saw Batman, they had a big trailer thing showing
Oh, dude.
Aquaman 2,
Yep.
Black Adam, fucking what was the other one that was coming out? There's a third one, whatever the fuck the third one is. They showed all three, and they
What
were
was the
like the
third one?
DC movies.
Oh,
I don't
Flash.
remember.
Flash.
Flash, right, Flash. And so they were like, all these movies, they're coming up next, right after the Batman. It's gonna be crazy. And then all of those are delayed.
Yep.
Flash got pushed to another year. It's the following year now. Now, do you think with that part they're pushing Flash again, even after they just showed all that footage? Do you think they're gonna try and work in Pattinson's Batman somehow because that movie is going to be so bat centric? It's going to have Affleck's Batman, it's going to have Keaton's Batman. Do you think they go and now because of what he does, we're in this new universe where the established Batman is Pattinson?
I don't even know. Like that's my thing. A lot of these feel like afterthoughts. And
I don't know how it works any other way because
but
Keaton's
that's
Batman
why I hate it, because
that's
it all
bullshit.
feels like an afterthought, as opposed
Hmm.
to, listen,
A
this
plan,
is what we're gonna do because this is kind of what we want to go for.
right?
You know, instead of
Hmm.
like it's like, this might work. This will probably work. Let's give it a shot. And it's weird. They showed that trailer of all those films.
Hmm.
I'd like this. It'd be good if they were good. But I gave zero shit.
Hmm.
And I'm like, this is weird. I should be keen on it, something.
Weirdly, the only thing that like I was like, ooh, I want more info or I want to see more of that is Pierce Brosnan's Doctor Fate.
He looks
That
dope.
was the only thing I was like, he looks cool as shit, and I like Pierce
Hawkman looks a
Brosnan.
little goofy.
Hawkman looks like some CW
That's what
shit,
I was
just
saying.
like
I was like, everyone was saying, "Oh, Hawkman looks dope," and I'm like, really? Because he
yeah,
looks
Hawkman
fucking
looks like
lame.
me. But Doctor
Doctor
Fate looks
Fate
cool,
looks tight.
and Atom Smasher. It's cool to see them try and do like a Giant Man type
Yeah.
thing. They've not done anything like that yet,
What
so
hurt? What hurt that DC trailer though was right after that they showed Multiverse of Madness, and I was like, yeah, you just got shitted all over. Like this,
and
this shitted all over that.
what's crazy to me is I still hear people saying like, yeah, but Marvel's like cookie cutter and they don't try things and
They
blah blah
didn't
blah."
try things.
Yeah,
Guardians of the
that's what I'm
Galaxy was
confused,
trying something so different.
bro. I'm like, not everything is gonna work,
No.
obviously, but they're trying shit.
Yep.
Eternals was a departure,
Yep.
and I didn't like it, but it was a departure. Even just the first Doctor Strange, that movie has aged really well. I like that movie more over time. And
It's actually really good. I mean, I liked it
go
then, but I like it more now.
and going into this
Yeah.
second one, dude, I couldn't
Uh,
be more fucking
I
excited.
am
Couldn't be more
I am so amped. But that's why I was like, I don't want to have to compare both companies doing their thing, but it's like, what is the plan with Warner Brothers and DC in as far as the future of their films go? Do they even have anything set? Are they like, I think they interviewed the director and he's like, he doesn't have a real sequel written out yet
for the
for the
Batman.
Batman.
Yeah, he was saying even that he might not even do the Joker for
Yeah,
the
he's
second
like, no,
one.
no, because they were definitely hinted like Court of Owls, which is cool.
Right. There
But
was
then
hints that there was an obvious fucking hint for Hush.
Hush,
They literally say it across the
I know, and
screen,
I was
big as
like,
shit.
maybe it's an Easter egg, but obviously, like for those who know will know.
Right.
Um, I like that they touched upon Martha's history, family history
Hmm.
with the Arkham. So it's
Right.
it's cool. Like I'd love to see. Like I think the Court of Owls would really work in a way for this.
I th- the Court of Owls is they're cool designs and it's a cool concept, but I personally feel like that would have worked better
With Ben
again
Affleck's.
with Affleck's Batman because it's a concept that works if it's a Bruce Wayne who has established himself as Batman and thinks that he knows the ins and outs of the city
Exactly.
like no one else. No one could get anything past him. He is the way as far as Gotham is concerned.
It wouldn't
That's when you
work
can
too
do
well with
something
this
like
one.
Court of
Yeah.
Owls where they hear something you still don't know.
Yeah, yeah. It wouldn't work as well with this one because I mean he didn't even know of his father's dealings with
Right,
the
and this is
gangsters.
in a year 2
Yeah, it's too
Batman when they
fresh.
do.
It's too
Yeah,
fresh.
that's why it's weird to me, but I also am like, Court of Owls looks cool. If
The
they do
the
it, I'm sure it'll look
potential of
cool.
Ben Affleck's Batman was so wasted.
I know. I wanna, like, write him a huge letter or something, I feel like he deserves some flowers, and I think he suffered from not being in great films,
Same. To be fair, I
and
mean Superman.
but yeah, same deal. I feel like
Yeah.
both of those guys there was so much potential in
Oh
what
my
those guys could
gosh.
do and where they could go with those characters.
What a
And I
waste.
even feel the same way about Snyder as a director. There was so
Yes.
much potential in him as a director, and but similarly to like this Batman, where I feel like they last minute decided that it's not connected to Joaquin Phoenix's thing. I think in Man of Steel, the intent was Cavill's Superman exists in Nolan's
Nolan's
Batman's
Batman.
universe. They even in the fight with Zod, they blow up a satellite and it
Mm-hmm.
has Christian Bale's Wayne
Wayne logo.
logo
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
satellite. So I think that was definitely the intent, and it's why they did such a realistic take on Superman in that first one.
It's
But
that,
then
that
when
it's
they,
such a shame. That's the thing. I'm like, your plans, you just kind of throw under the bus if you feel like
all
it's
the
not
time on a
working.
whim,
That's the part that I don't get. I'm like, just finish it.
right?
And if it fails, start again. Because guess what, guys? You know you're going to start again anyways.
You are, and I don't know why they're like, it feels if I just don't know why there's such a weird lack of vision
Mm-hmm.
or a lack of commitment. It makes me give more credit as much as people love to shit on it because it's popular to shit on
It's
the
pop.
thing that's doing well.
Yeah.
Uh, Kevin Feige is doing miracle work over there
Oh,
as far as
dude.
keeping all this shit together. It's insane.
I rewatched a couple of the MCU stuff just because it's
Hmm.
fun to rewatch, and I'm like,
Yeah,
this shouldn't work.
it shouldn't have at all, and it's
None
crazy
of this
that
should
it.
have worked. Like the fact that you start off doing Iron Man, you made it. One, you made a C-list character
Right.
into an international hit, but then you're slowly exploring this universe, and I'm like, he's a human in a robot suit. All of a sudden,
Right.
you got an alien god come in, god because he's an alien,
Hmm.
come in, and then you've got other space creatures, aliens, superpowered beings, all this stuff, magic, and it
Hmm.
still works.
And it's still
How?
worse. It's insane because they started at the same. kind of realism level that like the Batman movies were
Pretty
coming.
much,
Because
yeah.
remember, Dark Knight came out the same year, I think, as Iron Man 1.
Something like that, yeah.
And I, that was already established of superheroes existing in the real world. And although it was funnier, it was lighter, and it was more whimsical, it was still a what if a real dude was a superhero?
Because to be fair,
And
it is still very like it's great. Like I know it's a guy in an armored suit. That's still
yeah,
somewhat it's sci-fi, absolutely.
right. It was
But
still based on tech.
exactly. But it is still
Right.
grounded in that sense where I'm like, yeah, just as Batman can have all this technology with his belts and stuff, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, he's just so freaking smart. He made
Mm-hmm.
armor that
Grounded is the perfect word for it.
it's still grounded there. It's still grounded in
Mm-hmm.
realism. But yeah, I think it's because when people watch those MCU films and it's like, oh, it's more lighthearted, there's more lighthearted aspects, it's more
Mm-hmm.
colorful, they think it's not, it's too friendly. It's more fun. Like
Mm-hmm.
just because something is dark doesn't mean it's real. You
You're
know what I
right. The new ones or the DC ones, very dark and gritty.
Yes. Gritty doesn't mean real. Gritty means
Doesn't
gritty.
exactly doesn't have to mean
Yeah.
real. Doesn't have to mean real. I watched Deadpool 2 like 2 or 3 days ago, and there's a lot of like crazy meta humor that I'm like, how is that going to age now that he is part of the MCU? Because there's like references to Cable shows up and he says something like "nice Winter Soldier arm" or something like
Right,
that.
right, right.
He also refers to him as Thanos.
Right.
Things that like
Shouldn't.
sure, but now Deadpool's part of this
Yeah.
universe. It's no longer I'm making a reference to something outside of my
Mhm.
universe. I'm making reference to something he could have seen on the news. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Really curious as how the references are going to work once he's no longer
I'm sure they'll
like now
make
he's
it.
in it.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll make it work. They'll find something to make it work.
I was,
Because if he was
you know,
pulled in from some alternate reality,
right.
That's why he's like, wait a second, in my reality, you guys were a movie.
Hmm.
Yet I'm
And,
here now.
and we'll talk about it in the other
Yep.
part of this. But I was saying I almost want to bet money. I almost want to bet win. Maybe I will. But I feel like Deadpool shows up in Multiverse of Madness
Mhm.
and drops first and only F bomb in the MCU with in that Doctor
All they
Strange
need
movie.
is one, though. You know what I
It's
mean?
you get one for free
Yeah,
in a
exactly.
PG-13, and I think he's going to be the
He
one to
should be
drop
the
it.
only one
And for the
that
first
should be
time
able
in
to
that
say,
movie.
like, if his films are gonna, I don't know what his films are gonna be, whether they're gonna be
Right.
PG or whatever. But if
Mm-hmm.
he's in this PG rated film, you should. I still go by my thing where I'm like, I think it would be hilarious if in a
He
PG
bleeds it.
film, yeah, because that's way more funnier.
Right.
Like,
And
why?
I can
How could
still
he be
see
allowed
it.
to do it? It's like because he's
See it.
Deadpool, he could do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just part of his being. Like,
And side theory, they recorded that shit of him and Korg like reviewing the
hmm
trailer for Free Guy.
That was hilarious.
It was great.
That was
And
fantastic.
technically his first MCU appearance
It
because he's
really
sitting with
is.
Korg,
hmm
but would not even kind of be surprised if that was done at the same time as all those reshoots for Doctor Strange.
Maybe.
And this is a way that we can get away with having him in the suit and nobody's going to report on Deadpool showed up
hmm
because we're going to put out this little thing for
Yeah.
fucking Free Guy or whatever. But almost guarantee he shows up in that shit and we get our first F bomb in that movie. And I would love it. And it's right around the corner, bro. It's right
As
around
for
the corner.
Batman, though, since let's conclude this basically.
I think Batman shows up. No.
No, concluding this Batman thing.
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, I'm down for a sec. I'm down for more.
Yeah.
I'm still. It's still not there as far as
Right.
Batman goes. Like I remember speaking to a few folks and they were like, we were like talking about what our favorite Batman film was. I personally,
Mm.
like if we include every Batman film and animated included, Mask of the Phantasm,
Easy.
yeah.
Easy.
And they were like, why? And I'm like, well, one, that's the best Batman.
Right.
He's awesome, Bruce. He's the
Hmm.
best Batman. He sounds amazing. That story, he's an established Batman. That villain, you didn't even know. That's
It
a
was a
new villain.
new villain for that story, and it was still dope. And
That's what
you
I mean.
still want to stick
That's
with
what
him
I
as
mean.
your
It's a villain, a new villain for this film, where you didn't
and
need
it's
any
a murder
backstory.
mystery. It's a
Yes,
murder mystery that we got in the
meaning
Batman.
detective.
Steven has the fucking Falcons and the Maronis in it, I'm pretty
That's what I
sure.
mean. That's why I was like, tell me a better film than this. Like, he's like Dark Knight. What? Because of the Joker? Because of Joker. It's
Joker
like
had a great performance, but
Joker. Exactly. I go. You can't hold his performance to the by making it the best film because
right,
Batman there was still kind of that's still Nolan Batman, which is not the best Batman.
it's not. And it's a fine Batman, and it's a
Absolutely.
fine Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
You know, there was things that were done that were good. However, Kevin Conroy is a better Batman,
Yes.
especially in that animated form.
Absolutely.
And they were able to show you growth in a way that none of the other Batman movies have done. He was even the girl that he's into makes a point of Batman is still being controlled by his parents, and he has a scene in front of their graves where he's crying. This is an animated film.
Mm-hmm.
He's crying and saying, I never could have predicted that I might be happy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I can't live up to this promise I made you,
Yeah.
but I just want to try and be a normal human and try and be happy. We've never seen him do that in any of the Batman movies. Maybe in Nolan's one, he shows up at a coffee shop and
Right.
lets
In
him
the end,
fly.
we don't even know if
Like,
it's real or not. It doesn't.
right. But
But
we've never had him
yes,
verbally, like I'm saying, I'm struggling with this thing. It's just it was a humanizing
he
thing,
was
even to
so
me as
human
a kid.
there. Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, you can't have a. That's the best Batman movie.
And Phantasm, legitimately fucking scary.
Yes.
Legitimately scary,
Yes.
legitimately badass. When they show up, it means business. He's there to kill people, and it still has Joker in it, giving one of his best fucking performances. They even did something I hate when they do with Joker, and they pulled it off. Is they gave him a bit of an origin story. They show
Yes.
him pre-Joker,
Yep.
and it works into the story to me perfectly. He's great in it. Hamill is at his
He's yeah.
top of his
Yep.
game
Yep.
as Joker
Hmm.
in this. You just can't beat it.
That's why
Mask
I
of the
was. That's
Phantasm
why I was like,
still
Mask of the
best.
Phantasm is the best. You can't like that hasn't
Couldn't
been
agree,
topped yet.
couldn't
Hasn't
agree more.
hasn't been topped yet. I say this all the time. They're like, and I'm like, just because Heath Ledger's Joker was awesome, that doesn't make that film the best.
No,
I mean, it
and
might
it was
again,
a
it's your
good movie.
favorite.
It's
Could be
it still to me might be best live action Batman
yeah, but
as
best
far as
Batman
movies are
period?
concerned.
No,
But best movie,
no,
1,000%
no.
agree.
Yeah,
Mask of the
yeah.
Phantasm is the one.
You can't. That's why I'm like, until I get something that close or even close to that in a live action, this is
Right.
fine. And
This is fine, and I
this
do
is
want to
fine.
see a
Yeah.
second one because as I was saying, even about Nolan's ones, I didn't love Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of cool ideas and
Mm-hmm.
cool shit in it, but I didn't love it. I
Mm-hmm.
was on board fully by the time Dark Knight happens, and I was waning by the time Dark
Yeah.
Knight Rises happens. But Dark Knight, I was fully on board, whereas this one, I feel kind of the same way. There were some good ideas, there was some cool stuff here,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe by the second one, I'll be fully on board. Show me
Mm-hmm.
why I should still care in the second one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not only why I should still care, but why you were the guy to lead this new franchise, why your vision was the one. Show me that in the second one because in the first one I just feel like it was a really expensive great fan film
Yeah. It
and
was.
it makes me just want to I wish I could go back in time and still see the Batman that Affleck had planned. They go back and the director of this one, Matt Reeves, was saying, Affleck was working on his script, and his script was great. It was like a James Bondy kind of adventure, and had him fighting a bunch of different assassins and Deathstroke killing the people he loves, and I was like, that sounds fucking cool. Make that
It's
movie.
like, where's that movie? Damn it.
Do what you did with the Snyderverse stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm not even a release the Snyder cut
No.
guy.
No. No. No.
I'm
No.
really not. But I feel like if there was a release the Affleck cut of the Batman type of movement, I would sign that petition. I want to see
Release the
that movie.
Batfleck. Make the Batfleck movie.
Yeah,
Give
make the
me.
Batfleck Batman.
Give me at
Whatever it's
least
gonna
give
be.
me
I want to
one
see
of
that.
them. Give me at
You
least
know?
one. If you're willing to give whatever a shot at this point,
Right. If you can bring Keaton back and make him the
Dude,
mentor for a new Batgirl, you can do anything. So, pay Affleck what he needs to get paid to make him want to do this because I know right now he's not enticed. They really gave him the runaround.
I don't blame him
But
for
I'm
not
all
wanting to
for it.
do it.
I don't blame him at all. And if he didn't want to do it, I'd be like, "Hey, bro, I get it. You
Yeah.
do what you got to do." But if I was Warner Brothers, I would be ready with cup in hand,
Yeah. I don't
ready
get
to
it.
make that happen.
I don't get it. But whatever. Yeah, it's
You know,
I'll watch a sequel, but I still right now I don't care about the character of Batman.
for sure,
Like
for sure.
what weren't we supposed to when we watch a film, aren't we supposed to at least give a shit about the main character?
It helps. It
Cuz I
helps
exactly,
people
for
else
sure.
remember.
Cuz I didn't give a shit about the character. That's my problem. I think that's the
Yeah,
film's problem. I'm like, oh, I had a fun time watching the film, even though a lot of the stuff was like you said it was predictable, or like you kind of guessed the clues and stuff,
right.
and that's fine. I'll go along for the ride, but
Hmm.
the ride in the end will be worth way more to me if I gave a shit about the passengers in it.
For sure, 1,000%, 1,000%.
I like Catwoman.
Um, I was gonna say before we wrap it, we should make sure and talk about Catwoman, talk about Penguin, and talk about the Riddler performances because we have
Yep.
not really.
Okay. Who do we start with? Catwoman.
Catwoman.
She was great.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Her
It
mask
was
is dumb
to
as
me
shit, but
the mask is weird. The balaclava thing or
yeah,
whatever is kind of weird.
yeah.
However, this might be. I mean, I loved Michelle Pfeiffer's
Very
Catwoman.
different
I think
Catwoman.
it was iconic for
Yes.
what that was, but Tim Burton's world was not how it works in the comic books. This was closer to
The
the
books.
Selena I
Yes.
imagine in the comics, where she's kind of like, she more of an underdoggy
Mm-hmm.
kind of uh, street level crime type thing. She's does some thievery,
She does things for her own
but you're
reasons,
looking
though.
out for the little guy,
Yes.
right? Yeah, there's something more to
Mm-hmm.
it, and I feel like this is really close, like to year one, like Batman year one version of Catwoman. This is pretty close to
Mm-hmm.
that. Even making her brown kind of feels like a reference
Yeah.
mostly to that.
I like it. She looked good too.
Yeah, I thought she was great.
Yeah.
No, pretty much no complaints with
Nah,
her.
I liked it.
If there was anything, I my only complaint would be that they never establish a reason why she is a thief.
Yeah.
Like
But
she has the burglar tools and all this shit, but it's not necessary. They establish that it's not really what she does. She kind of is just a waitress at this club. She just has this ability and has these tools
right.
for no particular reason that they establish, which
See,
is whatever.
yeah,
But that
I
was just a weird thing
I
to me.
imagined it was like it was something that she did to get away from like almost because obviously her father was her father.
Right.
And I thought that she never always worked for him. Like she almost came
Right,
back to
that was
work
more
for.
of the
Yes.
investigating type
Yes. Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
which even that is fine, but
Sure.
he seemed like that it was established that he knew who she was
Right. Right. Right.
and that, I haven't seen you around the club in a while, so she had worked there
Right.
for
Right.
a
That's what I
good.
mean. Like on and off, she goes there whenever
Right.
she's in town, but outside she's obviously a burglar. But
I
at that
guess I
point,
was
I'm
just
like,
looking for more evidence that if she is doing these burglary
right.
type
Right.
crimes, that there's something to show for that because
Right.
she's
Right.
still
Right.
just living in a slummy
Yeah.
apartment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Um.
part of it, I could have used a little more backstory on, but overall, thought she was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even uh, Penguin, who, when they announced Colin Farrell, I think we even saw set photos of him with like
The
stark
prosthetics.
white hair and a
Yeah.
cane, and everyone was like, "Oh, they're doing like a skinny like
Uh-huh.
pre-Riddler thing." Then he showed up with the makeup on, and everybody was like, "What the fuck? What are
Mm-hmm.
they doing?" So I thought he was good. There wasn't something so like penguiny or something in it that I was like, okay, I understand why
They made the
Colin Farrell was
jokes. They made the jokes of when he was waddling because his legs were tied and stuff that he was Penguin there.
right.
But other
But
than
they
that,
already called him
yeah,
Penguin
I know,
before
I
that.
know. That's why it was a little bizarre. I'm like,
And he has like one kind of scar
yeah,
that's like vaguely like, okay, is it supposed to like he looks like he has a beak
Right,
or
I don't
like
know.
what's the connection? They never
Yeah,
establish why they call him that
to me it was like
or
it's just a gangster name
for sure.
because
But
he's a gangster. But why the penguin? I don't know. I
yeah,
don't
I don't
know.
know.
I
But
don't
they're
know.
also giving him his own show,
Yeah, I
so
don't.
maybe they'll get into that.
Sure.
But I don't know. And it's like a prequel thing,
Is it
so
a
I'm
prequel
like, are
thing?
they?
Ugh, I don't even care then.
It's a prequel about him like ascending the ranks in the Maroni family or Falcone family, and which could be fine. They said it's going to be like a God or a Scarface ish, which is fine. But I wonder if they're going to make him look younger because they made his face out of prosthetics. They made a new
Oh, they can
person
do it
basically.
then. Yeah,
They can just
yeah.
make a younger version of that.
It's kind of the
I'm
beauty.
curious if
Yeah,
that's how that's going to work because then they could do him throughout the ages
yeah.
and change his look,
That
and that
makes
would be
sense.
cool to
That would
watch.
be
If
yeah.
they do that,
I'll be more
I'm
interested in
on.
that way. Yes,
The
yes.
other show, though, police, the
Gotham.
Gotham PD show, I care less about because
I
I
don't.
feel because right now they already did Gotham
Yeah.
and it was kind of a Gotham PD show,
Yes.
and then it went way off the rails and started. Here's every character from Batman before Batman exists,
I
and
hate
that was
that.
fucking weird to me.
I, I
So I
I
don't
hate
want to
when they
see
do
that
that.
again.
I hate it. It's
Yeah.
like you just lost. You've basically run out of ideas for the show.
Mhm.
You've
Yeah.
you've basically changed your idea of just doing a police show that's set in Gotham, and now
Yeah.
you're making a Batman show without Batman.
Yeah, and they did like, and they were so there were so many like we changed our mind things. They had
Mm-hmm.
like three different versions of Harley
Oh
Quinn,
yeah.
like four different versions of the Joker, like an adult and a kid version of Poison Ivy. It was
Oh
just
yeah. I forgot
all
about that.
over
Yeah,
the fucking
that's what I'm
place.
like. Make your mind up.
Yeah. So I don't want to until I see a trailer for that shit. I don't know how I feel. They gotta impress me. For
Right
right
now,
now, I don't care.
yeah, exactly. Right now, don't care.
Yeah.
With a lot of this, right
Um.
now, don't care.
So what was the and the Riddler?
Riddler.
What did you think of the Riddler's
Interesting
performance?
take. He's a good actor.
All right, I like Paul
Um,
Dano.
Paul Dano's good. There's one scene that made me laugh in the film where I'm like, he's all threatening and crazy when he's wearing the full costume. But then when he
Yeah.
was live streaming, he was just talking normally and stuff. It's like, oh,
Right.
thanks for joining the stream. It's like,
Yeah.
thank you for like helping with the mask decision and all this
Yeah. I
stuff, and then the
appreciate your
jacket.
support.
Yeah, I
Right.
that part, I was like, that's hilarious to me
Yeah,
because
I
it's
thought
his
that was pretty
private
funny.
live stream, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. The weird part that I don't understand it, like, was kind of like not even don't understand. Was just like, okay, um, all those Riddlers came in the end, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, how convenient that they all are roughly the same size, or all the same-ish build. They all had access to weapons and guns, and I'm
Right. Where
like,
was the fat Riddler
yeah, where was the
follower?
fat? Where was the females?
Right.
Where was the someone that's shorter or something? I'm like, okay,
They
okay.
did at least sort of set up the Riddler, the other Riddlers
Yeah, yeah,
in a couple different scenes. There's like a funeral
yep,
scene
yep,
where some dude is like, fuck rich people,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
Bruce Wayne walks up.
yeah.
That guy was definitely the
Oh
guy
yeah,
who gets his like shit beat in at
yeah,
the end and is like, "I'm vengeance."
yeah, yeah.
That was definitely the same
Oh yeah,
guy, and
same dude.
I think they show another one of the Riddlers earlier on.
But yeah, that whole
Oh,
live stream part made me laugh.
right, but that was funny. I feel
Yeah.
like they could have done more even with that. Um, but yeah, I thought that was an interesting
His
inclusion.
shots were
His like
brutal.
his random screaming, I couldn't tell if I was on board with that. Like I knew what they were going for.
Hmm.
Like this dude's crazy. They kept doing the like references to the Zodiac killer, which all that stuff is cool.
I'm not.
Um,
I was like a little unsure whether or not that was like the yelling and stuff was part of an act that he was doing.
really, because I felt like that was just supposed to be him being unstable and
I guess maybe
man,
that makes more
whatever.
sense if it was unstable because again, like it was such a stark contrast to him live streaming.
And even when they show him the first time in the
Right.
coffee shop, and he's just like some dude,
Yeah. That's why I
you
was
know.
like, I guess unstable makes way more sense because I was like, he's just he's theatric in that sense
Mm-hmm.
where he's
Mm-hmm.
almost while he is unstable, he's definitely amping it up.
What did you think of the look?
Interesting. Not what I expected. Very. Just not what I expected, but also kind of fine. I was speaking with somebody and they're like, it would have been cool if we saw him in the suit and stuff. And I'm like, no, I
I
don't
don't
think
think it would work
it would.
either.
It doesn't work for this world.
Right.
Like,
Or at
sure,
least
there
not
are
yet.
gangsters in this world, and that
Hmm.
would have been a very gangster look. But this Riddler's not that.
Yeah, he's not a gangster.
Yeah,
He's just a dude.
he's a
Yeah.
guy that hates the system, wants to bring it
Hmm.
down, and yeah, and like I mean, in a way, Riddler kind of did a decent thing. He kind of showed off the
He was taking
corruption
down
of.
corrupt
That's
people
what I mean.
until he
Like,
got wild at the end and tried
yeah,
to drown the city or whatever. He was
right.
mostly
But
just
he was
cool
just
with that.
trying to remove it completely. Like,
Right.
I know where it's like, oh, let's make the villains, let's sympathize with him in a way. And I'm like, he kind of had a point in what he was doing though, like legitimately. Maybe he probably
Right.
did cross the line in the end, where it's like, I gotta remove everybody. I
Hmm.
gotta clean the city. I gotta like basically drown out the rats.
Right.
You know,
And
that's
but
what he's
that
doing.
part of it a little bit came out of nowhere just
Yes.
because of the structure of the movie. Like I genuinely, when Riddler gets locked up and he goes to talk to
Hmm.
Batman
I thought that was
and he
it.
does the Bruce Wayne, I thought that was the end of the
Yeah, yeah,
movie. He was like, "Oh, he got him locked up, and now you have to find out in the next movie if he really knew who Bruce was or
yeah,
not." And then they're like, "Oh, but no, now there's some Madison Square Garden crazy shit.
yeah.
You gotta
That's why
run
I was
down there and
like,
punch a whole bunch of
that's why I
people."
was like, oh. I mean, one, the movie was long.
Right, long as fuck,
Yeah, it
long as
was.
fuck, and I
It.
felt it too.
Yeah, I was like, this is a director's cut, isn't it?
Right, it
We're
felt like
definitely watching a
everything he
director's
cut.
cut. Yeah, he didn't want to cut a single thing because, like you just
Right,
mentioned, then the whole Madison Garden thing or
yeah,
Gotham Garden, whatever.
mhm.
He could have left out that whole scene in the end
Really could have. Like there was a bunch of weird,
because
like
he did his job as the Batman.
the thing where Bruce follows Selena.
Hmm.
They show her drive on a motorcycle through scenes and then have a pause and then show Bruce drive through the same scene on a motorcycle. We don't need to see him physically follow her in a way that is so obvious she
We
would have
get
noticed
the
it.
point.
Yeah, just hard cut
Yeah,
right to he's got the binoculars on, he's
yeah.
watching her do some shit. There
He's
was just a
perving it
bunch
up.
of
Yeah, exactly.
weird pacing
There
things.
is. That's why I was like, I don't know. It's that's why I was like, it's not a. It's good. It's not
People are
perfect.
saying masterpiece though,
Ah,
and that's crazy to me. When I
nah.
hear people saying masterpiece, I'm like, you're just excited to see some
Yeah,
shit in the theater. It's just been so
dude,
long
the
that we
hype,
don't
theater
know
hype. I
shit.
get it, dude. Theater hype is good.
It is good.
When
It's
I watch it
great.
in the cinema, though, even at the end, I'm like, I like, I ain't been to the cinema for a while, but I watched it in the cinema. I was like, it was good. It wasn't amazing. Like, especially
No,
like sit with it for a bit
right.
because I know,
Think
right?
about
Exactly. Walking out, you're saying this is the best, and I'm like, after walking out, I was like, it was good, but I
yeah.
still
I
have
was like, it
issues.
was good.
Yeah, it
I
was
want to
good.
see another one,
Yeah,
but I'm still waiting for my
yeah.
Batman to show up. You know what I
Like
mean?
get me something close to Phantasm as far as awesomeness, and I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't touched that yet.
Another weird thing too is not weird, but something that I feel like should have been different. And I think we talked about it a little bit on our last episode from
Mm.
forever ago. Is I just was really hoping for a design for this Batman that was less armory and more. I am a like I'm a detective bat. You know what I mean? Like he shouldn't look so armored up that you know exactly where you should be shooting on this guy. He should look unimposing, so you shoot him directly in his chest. You don't know why he's getting back up.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't make any sense to you if you shoot him in his chest. But he should also be the kind of Batman who is avoiding getting shot at all costs.
That's the part that baffled me. I was like,
Right. He
so
just doesn't even avoid it. He just walks right into it.
I'm not sure if he knows martial arts, like whether or not I know this is year two, but
Right.
I mean, I'm pretty sure when he started off as Batman, he had already studied all these martial arts, right?
That was the idea, is he
I
should
don't think
already
that's
be
I don't
trained.
think that's the idea anymore, though.
But that's why it's strange to me too to do this thing where he's established Batman, but it's year two and he's not the smartest guy in the room
Yeah,
and he doesn't know how to fight.
you're
What was
basically
all the
combining
time
all these
before he
different
was
ones.
Batman should be that. You
You're
know what I
combining
mean?
all these different ones and kind of like showing what
And
you want. It doesn't add up.
Mask of the Phantasm still shows that better
I know.
because they show his pre-Batman stuff
I
with
know.
just him with a balaclava on and him getting fucked up and learning to be better. All of that is in
That's what
Phantasm.
I mean.
Anyone,
Phantasm is a
anyone watching
standalone. It's a
this, anyone
it's
watching this, if you've not seen that movie,
oh,
do yourself a favor. Go watch Mask
just
of
to
the
watch Master
Phantasm.
the
It's the
Phantasm.
one.
You don't even have to have watched the Batman the animated series for
Dude,
Master.
don't. It works completely
Yeah.
on its
That's
own.
why I was like, this is a perfect standalone film, which is crazy to me because you don't expect it to be.
Nope. And and what's Banana Town to me is I remember going to see that in the theater, and I couldn't have been maybe third grade
Ah,
tops.
you're so lucky you got to watch it in the cinema. I didn't
Yeah,
get it.
luckily my dad was enough of a nerd that he wanted to go because we went to go see that, and both of us loved it. And I was in third grade. I'm like 106 now. We've still not figured out how to do that in live action.
Then again, we
I don't
still
get
have. I
that.
mean, we still haven't figured out how to make a TMNT movie like the
Don't
first
even
one.
get me
So,
fucking started on. We don't got enough time for
so
Ninja Turtles.
but yeah, this Batman, I'll watch a sequel, I guess. I don't know, man. But let me give a shit about Batman.
Yeah, for sure.
That'd be good.
They've got some work to do to make me
Yeah.
give a shit. But the Nolan movies had to do the same thing for me because I remember really not being into that Cookie Monster voice in Batman
He
Begins,
got to it
and
at certain points in this film, by the way, when he started yelling and
he
stuff. He
did,
got, yeah, yeah.
he did,
He just didn't
he did
speak
get
that way the
that,
whole way, which is good.
which is good.
Yeah,
It is good.
yeah,
But yeah, I thought his Batman voice was fine. I
yeah,
just think there should have been more of a difference between him and
yeah,
Bruce. But
yeah. They fix
I'll
your
put it to
Bruce,
bed.
man. Fix your Bruce.
Yeah, in the next one
Sheesh.
you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was it. Out of I just for shiggles and gets out of 10, what would you throw at it?
7.
7.
Yeah,
I pretty much feel the same.
yeah,
On visuals, it might get a slightly higher
yeah,
grade if it was only visuals,
yeah,
but
yeah,
if
yeah.
we got to average everything together, I feel like a
I'm
7.
gonna average everything together. Yeah,
Right.
it's. I think it's a
I didn't
7.
hate it.
No, no,
I didn't hate it at
no, no, not
all.
at all. I say
There's been
if you're
worse.
interested, watch it.
Right.
Um, because why not? I mean, it's a new Batman film. If you're open to it, if you're bored of Batman, don't watch it, obviously.
Right.
But
Maybe watch one of the Schumacher ones first
yeah, just to set
and
your
then
bar
watch
really
the
low.
Batman.
Yeah,
Exactly.
if you set your
'Cause
bar
then you'll be
low,
like, wow, how did we get here?
don't watch Master of Phantasm and then this, because then you're gonna
Maybe
be
not.
really
Yeah.
annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
As far as story goes, anyways, or just Batman
Right.
representation. But yeah, watch the Schumacher one. Watch
Yeah.
this.
It might help. You
Yeah,
never
I
know.
know. Or watch BVS, I guess.
Again, I'm gonna be saying it for a while, but I am appreciating more and more Ben Affleck's
Oh, dude,
small window as Batman. I just feel like his
his
movies
suit
weren't it.
is still yeah. His films. If you removed his version from that
Right.
film, his
Mm-hmm.
version is great. The films that he was part of, not. That's all.
Exactly.
That's all.
Exactly.
It's unfortunate.
So, with that said, I think we've covered everything.
For Batman, at least. Let us know your
So,
thoughts and why you disagree with us.
yeah, please tell us what we got wrong, because I'm sure our take on this is not
Oh,
the normal take. Everybody's
this
loving
is
this
probably
shit.
the
So,
hottest. This is probably a hot take, at least.
right,
Yeah,
hottest take out of this duo.
yeah.
So until the next one, and hopefully it's a much sooner next one.
Well, the next one is probably going
Uh,
to be sooner because we're probably going to record that.
right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
But
So
until that one, stay chipper, chaps.
stay chipper.